Welcome to the Ethan Live podcast. I am your host, Papa Jeff, and my co-host Debbie is with me. How are you today, Debbie?
I am very good. It's finally a beautiful day here in Kentucky. We haven't
Well,
been able to say that for a long time.
yeah, the
It's
humidity has been terrible. Yeah.
yeah, but it's very nice, and I'm excited to meet Parker. So
Yes, and we are excited to continue our podcast series with the American Humane Hero Dog semifinalists. And so we're happy this morning to be joined by Parker, who is the Emerging Hero and Shelter Hero Dog semifinalist, and his person, Rachel. How are you, Rachel?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having us on and for inviting us to come and share a little bit about Parker's story.
We love it because we saw Parker
yes,
last year, and we had reached out to try to talk with as many as the semifinals from last year, and we had put a call in to somewhere there to try to get a hold of someone with Parker, and we just never did hook up or link up. So I was so excited when I got a return
yeah,
call this time because we really wanted to talk with you all. And our conversation a couple minutes right before we jumped on here is really exciting to me because we get into, gets into so much of the sort of the work that we do around here in Kentucky, although Parker does some stuff completely different. But it was just interesting to hear some of your feedback about like your jurisdiction down there. You're in Cherokee County, Georgia, right?
Yep, we are situated just north of Atlanta, so we're kind of adjoining to Fulton County, which is where Atlanta's at. It's a lot. I don't want to say we're rural. We're kind of like in the middle. We're mid-sized,
Okay.
north of Atlanta.
So tell everyone, briefly about your role there at the district attorney's office, and just a little bit about your background, if you have a moment.
Sure. So I am a deputy chief assistant district attorney. I run our domestic violence unit. So, and I'm also, my double duty is I'm also Parker's handler. So we've had Parker for 3 years in October. And yeah, so I do both of those things. I'm a prosecutor in our domestic violence unit. And as a deputy chief, I also am responsible for our domestic violence unit, which includes one other prosecutor, a couple investigators, a couple victim advocates. And then in the part-time, I'm also Parker's mom.
Oh, well, we could talk law things with you all day, probably.
I would bore you, but yes, I could definitely talk
I'm
law
telling
things with you.
it wouldn't bore us.
Yeah. So Parker, as you were saying, you're his handler, but he belongs to the county. Is that right?
He is. So a little over 3 years ago now, our specialty units, we kind of formed a separate office. And when they pulled us away from the main office, my boss, she said that she kind of made a promise to us. She'd always wanted to get a service dog or a therapy dog to work with our office. And when we were pulled apart from the main office, she said, now's the perfect time. And she asked me if I'd be willing to be a handler. And of course I said yes. At the time I had a 14-year-old little senior citizen Beagle Lab mix. And she knew that I love my dog. I love, the role and the idea of having a dog with our victims and our witnesses when they came in. So when she asked me if I'd be willing to be a handler for a dog, I was very excited for that possibility. At the time, we didn't have a dog in mind. We knew we wanted one. We didn't really know how to even begin the process of moving forward with that. Yeah. So that was kind of how it started. And eventually we got Parker, which is a whole fun story in of itself.
How did you find Parker then? How did that happen?
So around the time that we started looking for a dog, and I think that you guys know this too, fate brings animals into our lives sometimes when we're meant to find them. And here locally, our marshal's office had gotten a dog named Reggie from this program where we found Parker. It's Tales of Hope. They're in Gay, Georgia, near Peachtree City, Georgia. And Reggie was working with our marshal's office, and they had gotten Reggie to go into schools to talk about, pet safety and how to handle pets
And
responsibly and
pets.
stuff for the kids to have a program. And my boss went to a program with the chief marshal, and he brought up Reggie and this program, Tales of Hope. And that's kind of how we found out about Tales of Hope. Around that time, I had a sorry, Parker decided to walk away and play.
That's okay.
So
we understand.
He'll be back. He'll be back. So around that time, we had a pretty intense trial, and my boss told us about this program, and she had offered to give us a day off. And instead I said, can I just take my team and go visit this program in Gay, Georgia? And so she let us go down and visit the program. We had met with Reggie and Reggie's handler, Renee, prior to that to tell us a little bit about the program. Fell in love with Reggie. So we went down to Tales of Hope, and around that time, Parker was still there. Parker is Reggie's brother. So Reggie, who was placed here in Cherokee County, they were donated to the program, to Tales of Hope. And I think there are a couple other siblings that were donated to the service dog program there at Tales of Hope as well. But we went down and we got to meet Parker for the very first time, but he was not supposed to be available. He had already paired with the Ackworth Police Department. So even though we met Parker, Parker was not available. And so they kind of introduced us to some of the other dogs that might potentially be able to work with our program. And we left after that first visit. And maybe around a week later, we found out that the city of Ackworth, they were not going to take Parker. So that's how we were like, us, please. You know, I fell in love with Parker the first time. I have a video from the very first time that we met Parker, and I sent it back to my boss just to show her Reggie's brother. But we pretty much, I knew immediately that he was the dog that I would want for our program as well. And that's kind of how we fell into Parker. And so now we have two brothers from Michigan working here in Cherokee County.
Oh, what a great story.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Dogs.
Did you all have any pushback from, the court system at all about bringing a dog in?
So, I didn't know what to expect. And honestly, when we first started this program, I know there's one other jurisdiction near us that had a therapy dog. Her name is Rose down in Cobb County. And I knew about Rose, but none of us really knew how to introduce something like this into our jurisdiction. He was our first court dog, I guess, aside from the sheriff's office dogs that worked the court. So we really didn't know what to expect and how to go about it. And I will tell you that we have not had any pushback. We have 4 Superior Court judges, and all of the Superior Court judges have let Parker come into their courtrooms. He doesn't come in during jury trials. That would be a whole other process that we would have to go through to file motions. And we haven't had pushback from the defense bar, really. And I think a lot of that, I say, Parker, his main job is to work with victims and witnesses when they come in for court preparation. For just this week, yesterday, he met with a little boy who was preparing for trial. He met with a victim after she had testified. So it's really about being there and stress relief and just having this available. But he doesn't go in during testimony most of the time. But his other job is he's just always here in the courthouse, and everybody knows him and everybody knows that they can interact with him. He does not discriminate. So I say that kind of jokingly all the time with our defense counsel around here. He loves our defense attorneys too, He works with anybody and everybody, and provides kind of a little stress relief and support in between court.
He's a full opportunity therapy dog.
Yeah, he does. But his main role is to work with our victims and witnesses when they come into court.
Have you had, has he met with anyone? Because as we go around, so much intertwined together, you see some domestic violence and animal abuse. And has he met with any victims or witnesses that have had to be a part of animal abuse too, that he was able to be comforting for?
So we haven't had that situation yet. We are blessed not to have a lot of those kind of cases here in Cherokee County. We do have, and I actually had asked her if she wanted to join us today. We have a prosecutor who works largely with our animal abuse cases. And she's very passionate about this, but she's away at another training today. But I think that you would love her and to hear about her. I shared a little bit of your story with her, and she wanted me to share, keep doing the good work because she's extremely passionate about that. We do have, in my arena of domestic violence, we do have situations where we hear a lot about that kind of the dual abuse. That's actually one of our lethality factors that we look for in our domestic violence cases, of whether or not there's been abuse of animals in the household as well. And sometimes that comes up during our interviews, but a lot of times it's not. We are seeing a situation where somebody's been charged with a specific offense, and that's kind of the history of the abuse, but not a lot of the charges that I'm seeing in my cases. I think I've had one overlap case that also involved animal abuse, where it was the situation.
What is the law in Georgia with a felony against an animal? Do you, by chance, what are the consequences in Georgia?
Yeah, so here in the state of Georgia, we actually have some misdemeanors and we have some felony offenses. And I'm definitely not your expert. That would be our other prosecutor in that area. Okay. But I know I saw the law that you've recently passed there, and I don't want to say it's the same, but it's kind of very similar. They differentiate. Yeah, here in Georgia, they differentiate between the animal abuse cases that might be neglect and the ones that are purposeful infliction of the pain and the suffering on an animal, right? So we do have felony levels, and we also have misdemeanor levels of the animal cruelty. So here in the state of Georgia, it's cruelty to animals, and there's different degrees. I'm trying to, as we talk, I can tell you a little bit more.
Well, that was helpful just to hear that part, Rachel.
Do you know if you guys have in Georgia like an official link program that allows like the ACO officers to report if they see some indicators of like spousal partner abuse or child abuse when they're going to investigate animal abuse, and sort of vice versa?
I don't know if we have a program specifically like that. A lot of our law enforcement, when they go out here in our jurisdiction, we have instituted and are slowly starting to transition to a standardized lethality assessment, which includes the question of whether or not the suspect has ever been abusive towards animals. But I don't think that there is not a link in place for that to be reported to. Our marshals are the ones that typically handle our animal abuse cases here in Cherokee County. So there's not really a mechanism in place for those agencies to share that information. A lot of times we have really good multidisciplinary teams here, so we're kind of sharing that information as the case proceeds. But I don't think that that I'm aware of. I don't know that there's a reporting system like that.
Very, very cool. Well, let's get back more into Parker, and as you probably know, when animals just have a way of putting people at ease. And I'm sure that when, either witnesses or folks have to come in, victims have to come in to prep for a particular case, it's probably very nerve-wracking, very stressful, very anxious. And tell us a little bit about how Parker is able to ease those tensions.
So Parker, when he first came to us, he was 10 months old, and the program Tales of Hope that we got him from, it's a service dog training program. Parker is actually a PTSD anxiety alert dog, but he doesn't meet the I guess legal definition for that to be in the service dog category, because he is not assigned to provide services to one particular person, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? So he practices as a service dog, but he's not working with one particular person. So he's been trained to in behavior interruptions. We've seen him work through. Oh, look at that! We've seen him work through with some victims. We had one particular victim that I can remember who had she had an anxiety attack following a bond hearing, and was kind of having a breakdown. And that was one of the first times that I witnessed him actually working, and
Oh.
going to her and almost in bringing her out of that experience that she was having. And, you know, when we're prepping for cases, and I know you're aware of this, and probably preaching to the choir, like you said, we're asking people to relive some of the most traumatic things that have ever happened to them, that could ever happen to a person. And then we're asking them to go, and we're asking them to say it in front of people, right? To go in and to retell it over and over again. So most of the time, that's not going to be a pleasant experience. That's going to be a traumatic experience for anybody. And then you also have to think that he's not just working with adults, he's also working with children. Children who are coming in and they're reliving the most traumatic thing that could ever happen to a person. And a lot of times, so he's trained in behavior interruption. He is going to act as a service dog with people if they're experiencing anxiety attacks, if they're, maybe having flashbacks. He's going to work with them. But then there are times when people come in where they don't want that kind of interaction. We have, like I was saying just yesterday, when it's a child, the child just wants to play with a dog. The child's not, thinking about needing a service animal. I don't want to say it that way, but they want a distraction.
Pet the dog, yes.
So he's kind of a dual purpose in that he will match the energy of the people that he's working with. So sometimes we're taking off the vest and he is just playing tennis ball. He is playing fetch. He was showing the little boy yesterday, he was showing him all the tricks that he can do. We're working on certain things and how to shake. And one of his newest ones is how to play dead, which he gets 50% of the time. Sometimes it's not working.
Well, I'm glad you explained that, because when I was reading through, I kind of wondered why Parker wasn't in a different category, but thanks for explaining that.
So the program that we went through when we first got him at 10 months old, he was a very well-behaved dog. He had gone through some of the basic commands. I got really lucky right after we first were paired with him. Tales of Hope, they have 3-day service dog weekends, and they do them every 2 to 3 months, where they bring in all of the dogs that are in training, and it's very intensive training. And then at the end of it, they do testing. So Parker, after we first got him, we went to the October service dog 3-day weekend, and at the end of it, he tested out of his Canine Good Citizen. So he got his certification, and from that point on, it was more about them training us on how to train him. So we log his hours. Even when he's here in the office, we're pretty much constantly training, whether it's in the courtroom, whether it's here in the office. And that's kind of the process that we've taken with him. I keep looking over there because he's out. He has now decided that he is apparently bored by the conversation that we're having.
He's playing dead right now.
We seem to have that effect on most of the animals when we do these.
Good thing we're not easily offended. So
not at all.
Is Parker part of Courtroom Critters?
No, he's not.
Okay. I thought I saw something online that linked him with that. And we had met some Courtroom Critter folks when we were out in Las Vegas for CrimeCon. And when I was kind of looking up some information on Parker, I thought that someone had linked them together. So I wanted to ask you that, because I hadn't seen it, officially listed anywhere.
No, we are not linked with any kind of outside program. He is kind of a sole practitioner.
There you go.
And the really cool thing is, as we have gone around the state here and we meet so many folks that are in, whether it's a circuit clerk's office or county attorney's office, you all also experience and see some of these horrific stories, and talk a little bit about how Parker is able to help the folks that just work in your all's office.
Yeah, I always say our office, I think back 3 years ago before we got Parker and like where we are now, everybody interacts with Parker differently. Everybody, has different things, and I said this earlier and I mean it, he matches the energy of whoever it is and whatever they are, whatever they need on that particular day. So you're right. Right now, my domestic violence unit, we are housed in the same area as our special victims unit and our juvenile court. And all of us are dealing with a lot of the very, very heavy cases.
Heavy,
And then,
yeah,
we also have our trial line and our gang unit and our pretty much everybody in our office, whether they're prosecutors, whether they're advocates, investigators, all of our support staff, we're all interacting with people who are in trauma. And a lot of that, we carry it as well in different ways. People respond to carrying that trauma in different ways as well. And having him here in this office has completely changed the dynamic. There are times where Parker is playing fetch in the halls. I've said that, and I think I said this in the information that we shared
bio,
with Humane. He is obsessed with tennis balls. If you want to see, and I shouldn't be giving away his secrets, if you want to see him completely lose his training, you bring out a tennis ball. He will listen, but it will distract him, and he will go after that tennis ball. So we have tennis balls in every corner of this courthouse.
How cute.
Our office. He knows where the tennis balls are. I shared this on my personal page. I've been kind of walking through Parker's story on my personal Facebook page and sharing that publicly, of just kind of the different things that have happened early on in his service dog training. They talk about keeping your dog's mind active, right? And engaging them and teaching them new things. And part of the service dog training, all of those dogs that come into the program at Tales of Hope are learning different tasks to assist their person. And one of the things that they were teaching was how to assist in opening doors, how to assist in opening drawers, for people who might need that kind of assistance. Like, let's teach Parker that, right? Just to keep his mind active. We don't really need that, but let's see. To teach him a task.
There's trouble ahead here.
I say that was one of the biggest training mishaps that I have ever done, is teach Parker how to open drawers.
I was going to say, you can find the tennis balls in there too.
That is correct, because that is where we keep our tennis balls. We keep them most of the time up in drawers, and he will, when I'm distracted, he is still a dog. And he's a very smart dog, and sometimes he gets bored, and he decides that it's time to find the tennis ball.
Find a tennis ball. Hey,
so he will sniff them out, and he will find them in other people's drawers, and he will try to go into those drawers as well when we're distracted. So
if anybody ever needs a tennis ball tracked dog, they could use.
That's one of my favorite stories to tell. Again, early on,
great story.
Parker is very well trained, and he is a great dog. And I say that even on his precocious days, he is still a very well trained dog. But we went into a school, and my boss, our elected district attorney, was at the front of the class talking about, it was a career day, and she was talking about the path to becoming a prosecutor. And meanwhile, in the back of the room, Parker had found a tennis ball in a middle schooler's backpack, and he kept trying to go into that backpack. And the kid took the tennis ball out and threw it across, like wanted to play with Parker, and threw it across the back of the classroom. And of course, Parker was like, "Let's go."
Oh, sure.
As my boss was talking at the front of the classroom, but everybody got a good kick out of that. So
that's a great story. Well, your courthouse is very, very fortunate, because even just the court, when we go into courthouses, like you were saying, the clerks, everybody, Ethan just brightens their day as soon as he comes in. So the service that Parker is providing is, it's amazing. And I'm sure they're very, very grateful that he's in that courthouse.
I think that typically, unless it's an adoption day, there's not a lot of happiness that's happening in a courthouse. Right? Like most people are not coming in.
It's heavy
to court for good reasons. We always joke about that. I wish I could see more adoptions, because those are the happy days. In court. Otherwise, pretty much everybody who walks into the courthouse, whether they're coming in to testify, they're coming for their own court case, they're coming for any number of reasons, they've got a weight on their shoulders when they walk through the door. So we have seen,
very true,
personally, people brighten up just by seeing him in an elevator. and we kind of made a commitment early on. I've got a really great boss, and she's trusted us to train him and to work with him, and adapt to what we see his purpose, and outside of when he's actually working with our victims and our witnesses, he is working with everybody in the court. And you're right. And part of the thing that I hope that comes from him making it to the semifinalists is that it spreads the word that this is something that other jurisdictions should look into. Now,
yeah, definitely.
I was not behind the scenes for getting the approval from the county, right? And the insurance and the other things that go along with getting a dog for an agency like ours. It's not just as simple as bringing
a dog in, right?
Right. So I know there was a period of, two or so weeks where I know that my boss was kind of getting that approval through the county and making sure that all of that was working. And blessedly, that was not my part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But I know that every jurisdiction would have to go through that process.
Some kind of process, yeah.
Right. How is the dog? How is the dog going to work with our program? Who is going to work with the dog? And anyways, but it's worth it. That's kind of the message.
Definitely.
Well, and hopefully you guys are sort of setting a precedent, and other jurisdictions around there, if they need some of that help that you're talking about, they can reach out and kind of someone can help them navigate.
Great resource.
Try to spread that as much as I can. And Tales of Hope, they started pushing that a little bit. They do a lot of one-on-one service dog training, but I think that they've realized that agency or facility dogs are so important, and the work that they can do in that arena is so important. We've had mostly law enforcement agencies. I know our Board of Pardons and Paroles, they have a dog from Tales of Hope, and some of our agencies have gotten dogs for their programs, law enforcement agencies that are working with law enforcement officers. And then the Board of Pardons and Paroles working with the victim services program. So it's kind of spreading a little bit, at least that I've seen in Georgia, but it could definitely spread a lot more. And
is Parker Tales of Hope's first entry into American Humane Hero Dog Awards? Is this?
I'm not sure. I know that last year that was. I feel like
Parker.
He is, but I can't say that for sure. And I have definitely tried to spread the word of Tales of Hope as much as possible because it's been a great program to work with. And anyways.
Well, this will help.
I was just looking Tales of Hope up. Are they, is that mainly a Georgia organization?
It is. They're based in Gay, Georgia. It's a program right outside of Peachtree City. So I guess is that west of Atlanta? All I know is I get onto the interstate. It's about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from where we are. And for the first year, really, of having Parker, we were going down there every weekend for training. And it's a little difficult to get down there as much. So now we do most of our training up here, but we go down and whenever we can to the program. But part of getting Parker from their program is it includes lifetime training. So we've had issues.
That's nice.
Issues. When I first got Parker, there were some things that we had to work through with him. Like he loved hanging clothes. Like, if somebody were to walk by him and they had a dress on, he would want to have it. Like he would want to go after, play with it. And so I was able to call them and say, this is the thing that's happening. How do I work through it?
How do I redirect this?
How do I train him out of that? And so they're really good at the one-on-one training, but then they also do a lot of group trainings where you can go down with the dog and continue that ongoing training. So they do a lot of pairing with veterans with PTSD. Parker worked, I believe, from a lot of this is secondhand. I feel like some of the training before he was paired with us, he was working with a veteran as well. And I've always said he is drawn to male veterans, and we have male veterans working in our office, and those are some of his favorite people. Not that he picks favorites, but sometimes he does.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
I'm just reading here. They provide hope, fellowship, and lifetime of support and resources for individuals and families that need it most. Do that, and so they continue like some training. Is it an organization that also helps with any kind of like financial, like medical assistance at all?
I don't know about that. I know that they have grants specifically for the dog, for
Okay.
pairing somebody with a dog.
Okay.
Okay.
And it was, the service dog trainings, the 3-day weekends were extremely intensive. And Reggie's mom, Renee, before I went down the first time, she kind of warned me. She was like, it's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot going on. And it was true. It was very overwhelming, but so meaningful. There were children who have been paired with dogs, whether it be for blood sugar, whether it be for seizures. There were a lot of seizure alert dogs. And they train the handler to work with the dog. So there were even children, younger children who were being trained to work with their dogs down there.
Goodness.
And it was really awesome to see. And, also really good for Parker to be around all of the other dogs when they were training, but it's a great program.
Dogs never cease to amaze us, do they? What they can learn and what they can be trained to do.
It
Very
was
cool.
that was very interesting for me because
Yeah.
I came into this a complete novice. My sweet Luna, who was 14, she could do some tricks, but she was also a senior citizen. She was very much her own person, and anyways, seeing Parker and the training and the structure, it's been really cool.
Yeah.
So, how did you hear about the Hero Dog Awards?
So I want to say last year it was actually through Tales of Hope. I think that Hero Dogs had reached out to Tales of Hope, and Tales of Hope kind of shared the information with me, and that's how we found out. Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the service league. I actually completed my 10 years with the Service League of Cherokee County, and Parker became an honorary member because the last 4 years he came with me to all of our functions, and that was him in one of our galas. He got
looking very dapper.
Yes, he was definitely a good date,
There you go. Well, he and Ethan will have to compare tuxedos at some point.
Yeah. There's
yes.
the birthday boy there.
Yes, that was his last birthday. Reggie and Parker, we have birthday parties every year. So since we've had him, Reggie and Parker, they share the birthday, and we have birthday parties where we invite the other dogs from the county and some of our other agencies. So we put those on. The last 2 years, he's such a ham. The last 2 years for Reggie and Parker's birthday, we've done drives for various things, fundraisers, and that's been pretty successful. That was when we first brought Parker home. He was a scrawny little 10-month-old back then. We found out that Parker was allergic to the state of Georgia. So he's had some ear infections that we had to work through. And we finally found out after some allergy testing that he's basically allergic to the state of Georgia.
Oh, well, great. That helps the whole situation, doesn't it?
Yes. Once we figured that out, we've been doing a lot better since then.
Oh, good. Look at him.
Very, very cool. Yeah. How exciting was it to get the email that he was a semifinalist?
We are extremely honored. It's been extremely, it's exciting for us to be able to share Parker's story.
Yeah.
And I think that, I said that earlier, but that is one of the biggest things that I hope comes from this, because there's so many great dogs in all of these categories, right? And I know it's kind of it's cliche to say it's an honor to be nominated, but it really is. And I think the big part of that is to be able to spread the work that he's doing, because it's been so impactful, and I want other agencies like ours to know that it is worth looking into, even though I know I can't even imagine what my boss, like the paperwork and the things that have to be done behind the scenes
to get it to happen.
Yeah. So it is worth it, because the change that I've seen in our office, as far as having him here and having the stress relief that is,
he is
he is a goofball when he is not working. When he has his vest off, when he is, I call him a free range poodle. We are kind of housed separately, and where we are, it's almost like a house. And he is a free range poodle. He will go, he will interact with people, he will find people, and he is just a goofball. But that is also a function of in his role in our office.
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
So anyways, he is definitely worth what I know was probably a lot of work to get the approval, and hopefully we spread that to other agencies as well.
Well, his story of, being able to sit with, you all in the office, but with victims and witnesses, and just offer a relaxing, stress-free environment to kind of, take the anxiety off, and he just offers some peace and some strength in a very like non-intrusive way. And I think there's a lot of, you wish that a lot of these other organizations and a lot of other maybe jurisdictions would step up and maybe do the same thing. I think it would be a huge benefit.
I think so too. And one of the things that we always ask, and I kind of say it in a joking way, like, how do you feel about large poodles before we go into a meeting space? Because you don't want to assume. We have had people who are afraid of dogs, or who say no, thank you. But for the most part, everybody is like, yes, please, let's have a dog in there. Even if, when we're meeting with people for trial prep and we're talking through what happened to them, he's mostly just roaming. Sometimes he does what he's doing now, but then if the person needs them, he's going to get up and he's going to go to them. And it's really based on that person's need. And I say that kind of jokingly, but we always tell people that we have him, and that he's going to be present anytime that I'm meeting with somebody. He's going to be with me. And I don't think I kind of explained this. So I'm his handler, but I'm also a prosecutor, right? So if somebody else, another prosecutor or another advocate, have a need for him, they will let me know. So if they're having a meeting, if somebody else in our program is having a meeting with a victim or with a witness and they want Parker there, we make it work. Whether I have court, whether I have something else going on, we're going to make it work where Parker can also be there for that meeting. And that goes back to why he doesn't meet the definition of a service dog, right? Because he's not paired with me all the time, even though he is helping me with a lot of the needs that I have as well. He is not just dedicated to me.
Right. Gotcha.
But we have a backup handler. That will take him if she is free. And we also have a system in place for if both of us are tied up, that we're going to make sure that Parker is there as well. So we've learned how to work with him and how to make sure that he's available over the last 3 years. But it has been a growth, him being the first dog in our program. We're learning just like he is, and we're learning how to work with him and how he works with people. He's only ever sat, he has sat in juvenile court because juvenile court is just before a judge. We don't have to worry about the implications of bringing a dog out in front of a jury, which is why we would have to file motions. We would have to get approval for that. But we have the judge in juvenile court permit him to sit in during testimony of child victims in juvenile court. And he's done great. He's been able to do that. And one of the very first times that he actually worked like that, I didn't know what I was doing, right? I have trained him. I have done the things, but until you're actually in the moment of
doing it. Yeah.
Right. There is a child who has expressed interest in having Parker with him when he's testifying. How are we going to do this? We figured that out together. And he, if he could talk, he would probably be like, why are you even worried about this? Like, I know what I'm doing. No problem. But I can still remember that. And this little boy testified, and he had a really hard time talking about what happened to him. And he met with Parker before. He opened up and he was able to testify. And Parker walked out with him through the back door when he testified. And it's like a weight had lifted off of his shoulders. And, I think it helped. I think that
I'm sure it did.
Just having somebody there to pet. I say somebody, he is a person to me.
Yes.
Having him there and just being able to, have a presence there next to you when you're talking is impactful. And I think it does open people up. So he has done that in juvenile court, and he's had some experiences recently where he's sat with people and we've gotten permission for him to sit with them during sentencing, which is also not in front of a jury. And that, I feel like he helped a lot in that situation as well. So we're still, even 3 years in, learning different ways for him to help.
Yeah, to use his, as a resource, definitely.
So as he's the free range poodle, have you ever just kind of gotten real focused on what you're doing in the office, and then you just kind of look up and you're like, well, Parker's gone, I wonder where he went to?
Absolutely, all the time. No, we've got
He's
I call
looking
him
for tennis balls, Jeff. He's gone to the drawer.
Yeah, and sometimes I know his normal haunts, I will say. I call them his bros. He's got his bros around the office that he goes and he hangs out with. We have one of our investigators is his favorite walking buddy. So every morning, our investigator will take him on a walk. It is like clockwork. That is his walking buddy. He doesn't want anything to do with me taking him out in the morning. He wants to come here to the office and he wants to go on a walk with Steve.
That's his routine.
He's got routines. He's got people that he wants to see at certain times of the day that he knows are going to give him treats.
Whoa.
They're very smart, right?
There, yeah.
I think you said this earlier, just the way that these animals know, and they're so smart. Parker is extremely intelligent, and he remembers where things are. He remembers there are court reporters that have treats in their desk for him, and he knows if we go into a courtroom, he knows where those treats are, and he knows who he needs to go visit. So it could be 3 months later, and he is still going to remember exactly who it was that gave him the treat, and he's going to want to go say hi to them. But
well, I hope you bring enough awareness that more courtrooms, like I said, add Parkers into their courthouses, because it's what a great service he's providing.
I love this program that you all are doing, and that you were in a place that was willing to take a chance to look into that. And now, several years in, it's been you all can already see it's been a huge benefit for, not only the folks that come in there, but for the office, your office staff too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think we know a few judges, don't we, Jeff, that probably wouldn't be as receptive to
Probably. I think that we have a really great jurisdiction here. We have a lot of really good people on both sides of the aisle. And I think that everybody, for the most part, everybody is doing their job. And there are mechanisms in place, and there are boundaries that you have to respect, for bringing a dog into an arena like this. There are things that you have to take into consideration. And everybody has been really respectful about those boundaries. And I think that goes a long way of, we didn't just bring Parker into a courtroom, right? The first time that we brought him back, we went and we made sure that everybody was okay with it. We had boundaries of when he was going to come in. When he was young and we were still going through the process of training him, getting the permission to make sure that he was even able to come into the courtroom has gone a long way. But I think Parker has kind of broken down a lot of the boundaries because of the way that he behaves himself and the way that he interacts with people. He's gone a long way to bridging the gaps and making sure that it's okay for him to be present. So poodles are great dogs. I was one of those people before, and I always say it's painful for me to admit this, but I was one of those people that are like, poodles are frou-frou dogs. Like,
I knew you were going to say
poodles,
that too.
right? Like, what are even poodles? I grew up with mutts, which are also amazing dogs. But my baby Luna, 14 when I got Parker, she was a Beagle Lab mix, amazing dog. I was one of those people that are like, mutts are the way. And then I got Parker, and I get it. Like, I understand the poodle lore now. And I am fully in favor of spreading the good news about poodles as well.
There you go.
All dogs are amazing.
I've had 2 poodles, and that's what everybody told me too. They were foo-foo dogs. And I was like, mine aren't. They're just really good dogs.
I probably wouldn't have believed you back then, but I get it now.
Well, now you do. Okay.
I think
Well,
you have to experience it for yourself.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and I mean, I remember just going to the groomer and saying, "Don't put the bows in the on the ears." You know?
Well, I really enjoy this program that you guys are doing. I'm so glad that you guys were recognized as a semifinalist. So
Yes.
spread the word. Voting, here's all the 25 semifinalists. Voting is open right now through September the 18th. There are 5 categories you can vote for one dog in each category every day between now and September 18th. In the emerging hero and shelter category, there is Parker right there.
Parker.
So make sure you get all your votes in every day between now and September the 18th. And thank you so much, Rachel, for
Yes.
coming on and
Thank you
telling
for
us
having
about
us. I'm
the
gonna
program.
come
Very
here.
informative.
You want to? He is. Let me show you this over here. Let's see if we can turn this in such a way. I don't know if you're going to be able to see him or not over there. Got this in the way, Parker. Nope.
Yeah, there.
Oh,
He's not
let's
getting up.
see. You're not going to be able to see him. He is. Come here, bud.
Zonked.
Well, I'm trying to draw him out with a tennis ball, and it's
Oh.
still 50-50. There he is.
The tennis ball every time.
Every time he's like, I will show my face for the tennis ball.
Very
At
cool.
least it's something small that you can carry with you.
Yeah, for sure. But
Very
anyways,
cool.
he said it was very nice to meet you, even though he fell asleep for most of the time.
Well, good luck,
love this story,
Rachel.
and it's a great program. And yeah, good luck to you all. Everyone, get out and vote. Go to AmericanHumane.org and get your vote in. But thank you so much, Rachel, for telling us all about the program and telling us all about Parker.
Thank you for having us, and thank y'all for spreading all of the awareness.
Well, we enjoy doing it. We enjoy meeting folks like you and hearing these stories about the dogs. So hope you have a wonderful day in Georgia. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you again.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Rachel.